Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben. This is our 10th episode of the series. I hope you're all enjoying them so far. If this is a new episode for you, make sure you go back through the other episodes and have a listen, as the first one is all about where I started gardening and how I got started and how I started enjoying it. So yeah, find out all about Gardening with Ben in the first episode. The sound quality is not as good as I didn't have a proper microphone then, but I've got it now, so hopefully it sounds a lot better. So yesterday's episode was all about growing garlic. Today's episode is about what I'm doing on the plot now. I'm hoping to bring these episodes on a weekly basis just to let you know what I've been up to and how things are getting on down at my plot. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Grab your cup of tea or coffee, sit back and relax and enjoy Gardening with Ben. So today's episode, like I said, it's going to be about everything what I'm doing on the plot this week and what I've been doing for the past few days. So at the moment, as I've mentioned, I've been building a picket fence down the side of my plot. I'm one of those allotmenters that if you see wood piled up in a skip or anything, I'll grab them and use them and take it and pile it on my allotment until I need it. And I got so much wood, it was starting to go rotten. So I thought I need to get this wood used up. Plus it was taking up an area that I want to use on the plot. So I needed to get it used up. So I've built myself a picket fence, which you'll be able to see on my Instagram if you're following me on there, Gardening with Ben. And it's turned out absolutely amazing. I'm no good at woodwork, but I'm over the moon with how this has turned out and how it looks, because it does look pretty good. And come springtime, I'm going to paint it all a nice dark green colour to make it look nice and for it to camouflage in the garden. And hopefully it'll make it look posher. I don't know about having a posh allotment, but it'll certainly make it look nice. And then I'm planning on growing all flowers in front of it. This year was the first year that I grew flowers on the plot. I grew some calendula, some sunflowers, geraniums, some scabia, some marigolds, and they all turned out absolutely fantastic. Oh, and sweet peas, they were brilliant. I really did well with them. So fingers crossed, next year, I'm going to be planting a load more different flowers. Now, I put a poll out to my Facebook followers on Gardening with Ben because I'm not that sure about growing flowers. I'm more about growing fruit and vegetables. So flowers is all new to me. So I put a poll out to some of my followers and they've given me a really good list of all the flowers that I can start from seed. As I don't want to grow the plants, I don't want to buy the plants, as that is classed as cheating, I think. I really don't want to be buying the plants. I want to start them off myself from scratch and get them growing on my allotment. So I'm planning on growing everything from seed next year again, seeing if I can do better and growing more different flowers, as well as attracting the bees to the plot, as one of my neighbours is hopefully having a beehive next year. So I want the bees to think, oh, let's go to Gardening with Ben's plot. It's got all the flowers on it. Let's help pollinate all the fruit and everything. So that's my plan for this next year. If you haven't heard already, the place where I'm recording these podcasts is an app called Anchor, and it's totally free. They also put your podcasts on multiple platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Straight away, you can also schedule the time that you want it to go on, which is fantastic. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, so you can record your podcast literally anywhere you want. You can also make money from your podcasts as well, with no minimum listenership whatsoever. So the more times it gets played, the more times you can earn money from it. And there's everything you need to make your podcast all in one place. So if you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, you can get started with your free podcasts. So now that I've done my picket fence, I've put flower beds in front of all the picket fence so that I can grow the flowers there, so that they're in their own little area. Today's job, what I've been doing is I've been moving all the paths as I've changed the layout of it, so the paths are having to move so that they go up to the edging of my flower beds to make it look smarter. And over the next coming days, what I've got to do is I've got to dig up my strawberry beds. Now is a perfect time to be messing around with strawberries and getting those planted in the right spots, as it's wet and the roots will take in the ground and they won't risk dying. So if you need to move any strawberry plants, move them around now, as that is the perfect time. So I've got to move all my strawberry beds. I've got about 60 more strawberry plants to plant out. So I'm going to be pulling out any that have died, any that didn't do very well this year, and replacing them with new strawberry plants. Strawberry plants last about 3 years. You can get about 3 years out of a strawberry plant. And after the third year, they do say that you should replace them with new strawberry plants. It's like doing them on a cycle. So every year you start a new batch of strawberry plants off to replace the third year ones. And it can work like that. The first year you possibly won't get as many on the plant, but then the second year and the third year should get a good crop on them. And as well now, you can be cutting off any foliage on the strawberry plants, cutting off any old runners what had grown on it, what you don't want. Just trim them back, make them look neat and get them ready for next year. Also put some fresh compost around it, some organic matter, just to give them that bit more food and to get them going. It's also good to do that in springtime as well, to give them that boost to get them going, ready for the summer ahead. So that is one of my main jobs this week, is to get the strawberries all sorted before it gets too cold and the ground gets too hard. Also, another project what I've got to get done this week is I've got to plant all my garlics, which I talked about yesterday, planting garlic bulbs. Now is the perfect time to be planting them, so they need to go in. And also my autumn onions, they need to get in the ground as well. I am thinking about starting some off from seed in January, as I've seen quite a few people get good results of growing onions from seed. So I might be trying that this year, so you've got to stay tuned to see how I get on with that. So yeah, now is still mainly getting the plot clear and tidy. I have a big trouble with bindweed on my plot. It only seems to come up halfway onto the plot because I managed to keep on top of it each year, but I've been going absolutely mad at the moment with this new area that I've been doing, getting up every bit of bindweed root. The thing is with bindweed is that if you just break a bit of root off and leave a tiniest piece in the ground, that will start growing next year. So you need to get as much of the bindweed up as possible and just keep pulling it up every time you see some grow, and eventually you will get on top of it and get it sorted, but it'll take a few years to get it all out of the plot eventually. So that is mainly my projects at the moment down at the plot. So one thing I've been doing as well at the moment is as I've been doing my new area, I had a lot of gladioli growing on my plot, and they did absolutely fantastic. They were beautiful. First time that I've ever grown them before. And as I've been doing this new area, I've been digging them up, and I found each corn, should I say, they're actually called corns, have got these tiny little corns on them all over, probably about 30 or 40 on them. And like I said, I've never grown gladioli before, so I put it out to my followers on Facebook and said, what do I do with these little bulbs type things? And quite a few people have said it's the first year they've grown them as well, so they didn't know. So it's good that I'm asking questions as well, because then other people do help. And apparently they're called little cornlets, and all these little cornlets, I need to plant them after the frost next year, which is around May time, and start them all off in pots. And then the year after, the corns will be bigger corns, and in 2 years' time, I will have absolutely loads of gladioli corns, which will get the flower spikes on, which provide the fantastic colour. So fingers crossed, in a few years' time, I'll get some absolutely beautiful gladiolis on my plot to go with the other ones that I've got. So, as I always said to my followers, I'm still an amateur. I still class myself as an amateur gardener. I've been doing it 16 years, but I'm still learning all the time. And like I said, flowers is not my key area. Growing fruit and vegetables is more my area. So I'm trying to learn as much as possible about growing flowers so that I can spread it on to other people as well and share the tips and advice that I learn. So that's everything what I'm doing down on my plot at the moment. Over winter as well, when it starts to get nasty, the weather, I will be spending more time in my shed doing improvements in that, as in the March, April time, I'll be starting to plant all my seeds ready for the year ahead. So that is one of my main jobs, what I've got to do with this winter time. But at the moment, while the weather's still decent, I'm spending it out on the plot, getting all that ready. I'm trying to get as much done as possible while it's still nice weather, so that I can spend it outside in the garden. So I hope you've enjoyed this little short episode today. Like I said, I want to bring a little episode each week, just saying what I'm doing on my plot and what my plans are for the few weeks ahead, and sharing anything that I've learned with you. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all my podcasts, what get launched. They get put on daily at 7 o'clock in the morning, so you can listen to them on the way to work or while you're at the allotment. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow when we've got a new podcast topic. Thanks for listening, and remember, keep gardening.